Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Entitled Parents. Story 1. Why is my mother like this? My mother is a 46-year-old with diabetes. I am fine with that, however she has temper issues. She constantly yells at me for not doing this, do that, and I am tired. She says I am lazy, but my autistic little brother sits on his iPad and plays Roblox all day. And she just watches TV and yells at me. She acts like she has to do everything around the house, but it's me who has to do everything. She never cooks dinner and expects me to cook every frozen dinner she buys. They are disgusting and I end up throwing up every time I eat them. She acts like I'm not tired of this garbage dump of a house when I am. I've had to live with it my entire life. She acts like there's no reason I should be upset about anything, but I had to suffer from abuse from my older brother for years until they got kicked out last year. I never grew up with a father and it's made me an outcast among society and friends. I plan on moving out as soon as I turn 18. Because I've had to do every chore myself, I have grown more indecent from them and I can survive on a house on my own. Story 2. One Christmas my mom bought me a TV she wanted to get me for Christmas and said I had to leave it in her house when I didn't live with her and only seen her every month or so. This takes me back to a Christmas a couple of years ago, and it was one of the first Christmas that I actually had to stay in my mom's while my dad was away. But my two brothers asked for PS4s at the time and one of them planned to move into my room that Christmas because I stayed in my mom's house maybe 4 times a year. But anyway, the only present I got that Christmas was a 32-inch smart television because it was what I wanted at the time, and when I opened it I said I was excited to put it in my room and I was going to call my dad to make sure he brought a big car to bring it home. Then my mom got upset and said that if I brought it home, how can my brothers use it for their games, so it would have to stay in her house. I got really upset and said then it's not a present for me, it's for my brother as I don't stay in her house. She said I was not entitled to take a present that she bought and take it home when my brother would use it and that I was being unfair. To this day my granny and her say I was being bratty and was going to stop my brother from playing with his present. Since then I have never asked for any sort of technology because I never want that to happen again. Story 3. Hypocrite stepmother who hasn't had a job in 10 years tells me I need to work on my career at 17. I'm 17? BTW. Yes, you heard that correctly. She pisses me off more and more and I hate being around her even more than my dad. I don't see her with a career. I don't see her with an advanced college degree, yet they're forcing me to. I don't see her leaving the house very often. Yet she's going to tell me to. What a bitch. I even said that art isn't necessarily the career I want to get into. I want to get into fashion. And yet the other day my dad tried to convince me not to do the sewing class that is actually going to help me in that career field, and tried telling me I'm not doing any fashion. How would he know? You know when the last time he asked to see my fashions or art was? Never. He never has. So how would he know? He doesn't actually care about me getting into that fashion school, he just wants to force me into doing extra work I don't want to do. There's nothing wrong with getting a standard diploma. My stepmother herself even said she just did the classes she needed to graduate from a standard diploma, so who is she to tell me I'm doing the bare minimum? What? I'm going to fail in life just because I don't take a few extra useless classes that aren't actually going to help me in my chosen career choice. She'll use the excuse that she's a stay-at-home mother, but my little sister has been in school for a year, so who are mothering exactly? Your kid is in school. I don't see her treating her own daughter. My stepsister, who is 18, had to do a ton of makeup work this year to graduate, and hasn't started college yet, the same treatment. I work my ass off making art some days, teaching myself using online tutorials and advice. I write a novel, which at the moment has around 80 chapters. I don't see them doing any of that. Some of my artworks literally take me 4 hours of time to do them, yet she's going to shame me for not leaving my room? Well, where do you suppose I do my art then? These are artworks I may make money off of in the future, tattoo designs I may make money off of in the future, and she's telling me I need to do more. I'm only 17. I doubt she had done any of that at 17. And she's telling me I need to do more for my art career. If you don't do anything, you're not going to magically get famous. You do realize how difficult it is to actually get famous from drawing, right? Most artists start out with only 100 or so followers at most. Very few artists get to a point where they're ever famous and there's no more Picassos or Van Goghs anymore. If she had any knowledge of the art community, she would know that. Most artists only promote their art on Instagram, but I have always been scared to do so because of the risk of art theft. Who said I'm trying to get famous anyway? There's nothing wrong with having only a couple thousand followers. Sounds to me like she just has no respect for artists at all. Story 4. A parent invaded my brother's personal space and threatened him. All that happened because my brother defended himself from his entitled daughter. So the parent who invaded my brother's space has a daughter. And his daughter loves making fun of me and my brother. So I got sick of her and fired back, and she didn't like that. She started yelling and wanted to hit me. My brother stood in front of me and she started hiding him. My brother then grabbed her hand and told her to stop, and she has no right to hit him. My brother did not let go of her hand and asked her, "Who gave you the right to hit me?" She started crying and ran off. Next second her dad, a grown-ass man, came up to my brother pushing himself on him and started threatening him. After that, me and my brother were blamed for hiding a girl when we didn't. And the school tried to hide this happening. My mom is angry and she is trying to get a layer. Story 5. FB stalks me then demands his rights. Just needed to vent. NC with narcissistic father for greater than 5 years. Thought I was free. Got the occasional email/phone call from him but never answered and blocked where I could. During that time I met and married my husband and had Milo. About 6 months ago, after hearing from someone that I was happy and to leave me alone, he decided that he must find me. Managed to find my husband's FB page as he is friends with a sibling and found a cover photo of the three of us. Ever since he has been threatening me to get his rights to his grandchild. And has now filed in court for it, because despite having next to zero chance, he can still drag me through the legal system. He thinks he is too smart for a lawyer, so hasn't even bothered to work out he has no rights. So now I have to front up to court. Fucking asshole. At least he is affirming my decision to go NC and keep my family away from him. Story 6. Entitled Mother get mad that I used my money for DoorDash. This just happened a few moments ago. My entitled mother gets mad that I used my money on DoorDash. I had just ordered a meal from Wendy's off of DoorDash. I admit, I waste a shit ton on money on that app. But it's all due to the fact that I really don't want to bug others I live with and me not having a car. I had just placed my order before I was then called for by M. As soon as I entered, M asked if I was going to DoorDash. I answered in a joking manner that I already did. I can already tell she got annoyed easily. She then proceeded to tell me that I spent too much money in the app. I soon gotten annoyed myself seeing that it was my money I was spending. Plus if I ask her if she could take me to a place, she would say she didn't feel like going and that I should just DoorDash, which is understandable. She always pulls this crap when she wants me to buy her something. I don't mind doing now and then when I offer to do it, but it's always a must when she asks me to. I grown a backbone and I have told her no on the occasions. Story 7. M leaves child at friend's house. Side note, whenever M either barges in without invitation or is invited to a party, she either forces my friend, her sister, or any other person to play with D and just drinks alcohol, smokes, or just talks to parents while almost ignoring her daughter. Story 8. My mom got mad at me because I think her jokes are annoying. I just got kicked out of her house because she thought I was being a smartass with her, after I told her that her jokes are annoying and unfunny. She got mad at me for giving her an analogy as to why her pulling my hair isn't funny, which went something like, if I punched you in the face then told you to relax because it's just a joke, would that be okay with you? Upon hearing that, she went ballistic, and began cursing me and telling me to get the fuck out of her property before she beats my ass. Half an hour passed and I'm in some parking lot waiting for her stupid ass to calm down. Story 9. My M21 mother, 60, thinks I have the obligation of telling her everything about what our family does. Ever since the divorce of my parents, about 1 year ago now, my mother has asked me now and again what my father was doing, where he was, if he had a new girlfriend. It got to the point where she asked me where did that new girlfriend lives. Mind you, I never answered any question and just kept on repeating, if you want to know something about my father, then ask him. Whenever I said to her that I wouldn't give to her that info because it wasn't my job to be the post office between her and my father, she claimed that I didn't care about her, that if I cared, I would be on her side. I didn't fall into that trap, and established a clear boundaries about those questions. She felt attacked but we carried on. Today, I told her I was going to a show with my father and brother. For a reason I don't know, my brother never answers any of my mother's texts or calls. She asked me if my brother was coming, and I told her that she could ask him directly. She started with the whole "you don't care about me" and stuff. She repeated that over and over and I wanted to say that I did cared about her, but I said that I didn't. Mental slip. I realized my mistake and immediately told her that I misspoke and said sorry. She decided to fix on the fact that I said that I didn't care about her and left the room. I realized I did have some responsibilities because I misspoke. I went to her room and said sorry, that I did care about her and that she should ask my brother directly. She started yelling, saying that she has given me everything in life. I asked her if I had the obligation of telling her absolutely everything she wanted to know, and she said that if it was about our family, I should. I realized I wasn't gonna change her mind and left the room. Am I the asshole here? Is my mother manipulating me emotionally? TLTR, my mother asks me for information about my brother and father, and whenever I tell her to ask them directly, she blames me for not caring about her. Am I the asshole here? Story 10. My parents disown me, pushes me away. My mother takes my money then asks me to lend her money. Hello everyone. Before you start reading, this might be a little bit long, so prepare yourself. English is not my first language, but I will try my best to explain. So this happened within years. So when I was young my parents got divorced. I don't remember that. I was maybe 3. When I was about 6 I was living with my mom, until I was about 9. So me, my mom and my brother moved to a new apartment. I was about 7, ready to start first grade. Soon after, as much as I remember, a guy started living there, but as you would expect, he wasn't a good guy. He used to emotionally and physically abuse us, and my mother would mostly just watch. This guy was around in his late 40s, early 50s. I hated living there, so I reported to my school. Don't really remember how that happened, and soon I was sent to my father. I lived there for about 5 months, before on Easter my mother asked if I wanted go to my grandma, her mother. I said that I didn't want to go, but my father said that I should go. So I went. They said that it's gonna be just for Easter. I agreed, so I went there. Everything was good until everyone started going home. For me they said, oh, you will stay here. And of course me as a 9-year-old, I threw a fit because I wanted to go back, but they didn't let me. Soon after I started going to school there. My sisters and my brother was living with my mother at that time. I was living with my grandma, unwillingly. I didn't had anywhere else to go. I lived there until I was in 12th grade, and I was kicked out. It had been about a month since my 18th birthday. Also I really can't blame her. I don't really remember the reason why she kicked me out, but I know that it was minor. I really can't blame her. She had cancer. I won't lie, she was the closest one to me. And it still haunts me. Also saying that word gives me memories and makes me feel bad. That's enough for backstory. So in 7th grade, I was around 13, I was in like a tournament, in woodworking, I think that's what it's called. I got the first place, and around 30 euros, our country that year was changing currency, I'm from Eastern Europe. I spent around 5 euros, and took the 25 euros with me, when I went to my mom for summer. As soon as I got there, I trusted her the 25 euros. I told her to give me if I ask, and I didn't ask for whole summer. I had found something I liked, and I asked her for my money to buy it, she said. No, I already bought you stuff for school with that money. I said, well, I do appreciate that, but I didn't ask you to do that, please return me my money. She said the same thing, and we got into an argument, because when my sister needed money, she gave her that money from her own pocket. I was really upset and returned to grandma. Never again I trusted her with my money or anything, because every time she would tell her partner, by the way, who is a heavy alcoholic, physical, mental and emotional abuser. My mother never really contacted me, and never really does, except when she needs money, because her partner won't even provide for his family. She got 2 kids from him, a boy and a girl. He used that money to buy alcohol and cigarettes. He did buy some food for himself, but mostly ate everything, but if someone touched his food, he went crazy and used to yell at us, insult us, and of course hit us. So after I was kicked out, I lived at my mom's place for about a week, then I went abroad. Now I'm in the Netherlands. So I did went back a few times, but mostly returned here. I visited my mom a few times, but mostly stayed at my home, some rental place. So every few months she messages me, something like, "Hi, how are you? How's money? Can you lend me XX euros? I need for food." Well, most of the time if I have money I send her. But I have realized that she messages me only when she needs money. I feel like it's my obligation to do that, but I have told her many times that she should ask my brother. He left school, didn't even graduate 9th grade, which is minimum. He started working at about age 16, and has never paid for anything, except for his alcohol. He still lives with my mom, he is 19. This year, in about March, I spoke with my dad. He told me that after I was sent to my grandma, my mother was asked if she wanted me to live with her. She refused. So basically she disowned me. But still I have contact with her, very minimal. I do want to cut all contact with all my family. I don't hate them. I just feel like a bank. Like a tool. I have thought hard about this. I am talking to my therapist about this. They don't think that it's a good idea. But I'm not even doubting myself. I felt that, in that way I would be more happier. Now all the time I just feel depressed. I have to admit, I have asked money from my mom myself, usually not huge amounts. And she does gives that money back for the most part. Also I am transgender MTF, and I think that by starting this new chapter in my life, I want to leave the old life behind me and never look back. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.